If someone told me a year ago that my wife, my brother, and my mother would all betray me in the same breath, I'd have laughed. But now, I can tell you exactly how it happened. My name is Jason Whitlock. I'm 32 years old, and for the last 5 years, I've been the operations manager at Whitlock Transport Solutions, the trucking company my father, Harold, built from the ground up right here in Birmingham, Alabama. When people think of trucking, they picture diesel fumes, steel, and long highways. For me, it was legacy, something sacred that carried my family name. While my younger brother, Ryan, was out enjoying his college experience, partying through 4 years of dad-funded fun, I was the one showing up before sunrise. Every morning at 5:30 a.m., I'd grab a coffee that tasted like exhaustion, unlock the depot gates, and start coordinating drivers. Rain, heat, or the kind of Alabama humidity that makes the air feel like soup, I was there. I made sure our 18-wheelers ran smooth, deadlines were met, and our company reputation stayed solid. Dad built the business with sweat and sacrifice, and I was determined to keep it alive long after he retired. Then came Lena. She worked as a radiologic technologist at Birmingham Regional Medical Center, sharp, ambitious, the type of woman who always had a plan. We met through mutual friends, dated for a year, and by 27, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. We got married in a small chapel just outside Cedar Grove, bought a cozy 2-story colonial home with white shutters, and adopted a golden retriever we named Buddy. Life felt solid, predictable in the best way. We laughed at the same shows, talked about having kids, and built routines that made us feel safe. But safety can be deceptive. By the fall of 2023, small things began to feel off. It started with extra shifts. Lena claimed the hospital needed her for emergency scans or double shifts, but when I called to check, the front desk said she wasn't scheduled. She started leaving her phone face down at night, always locking it, always nervous when it buzzed. At dinner, she'd stare off mid-conversation, lost in thought, then smile like nothing happened. What really threw me off was how close she suddenly got to my mother, Eleanor. For years, those two couldn't even be in the same room without trading polite but lethal smiles. Mom used to say Lena was too independent, not the kind of woman who'd ever put family first. Now, they were talking every day. Long calls. Whispered conversations that ended the moment I walked in. Then there was Ryan. He started dropping by the house when I wasn't home, just in the neighborhood, he'd text. He'd show up with Starbucks or claim something in our garage needed fixing. At first, it felt harmless. Ryan's the charming one, the smooth talker who can make you laugh and still somehow get you to clean up his messes. But soon, every visit felt wrong. I'd come home early to find them standing too far apart, that awkward distance people keep when they've been too close seconds earlier. Lena would nervously start wiping already clean counters, while Ryan made excuses to leave. I told myself not to overthink it. I wasn't the jealous type. But I'd been in logistics long enough to know one simple truth. When the routes stop making sense, someone's lying. So, I started watching. Not accusing, observing. And the more I paid attention, the clearer it became. Lena's mysterious shifts lined up perfectly with Ryan's absences from the company yard. Saturdays, she worked overtime. Ryan's truck was gone. Wednesdays, she was covering a scan. Ryan's F-150 didn't log a single company route. Coincidence? No such thing in my world. By the first week of October 2023, my suspicions had stopped being whispers in the back of my mind, they'd become sirens I couldn't ignore. Something was wrong, and it wasn't just stress or overthinking. I could feel it in the way Lena moved, the way her laughter seemed rehearsed, the way silence had started to fill the spaces where comfort used to live. It began with her skipping coffee. That woman used to be fueled by caffeine, 2 cups before work, 1 after dinner. Suddenly, she wouldn't even touch it. She said her stomach was off, that she was just tired. But I'd seen that kind of tired before, and it wasn't the kind that a nap fixes. Then came the mornings. I'd hear her quietly rushing to the bathroom, the faucet running, trying to cover the sound of vomiting. She'd come out pale, smiling too wide, pretending nothing happened. You can't hide that kind of thing from someone who's shared your toothbrush holder for 5 years. So one Sunday morning, while she was picking at her cereal, I said it calm, almost casual. Maybe we should get a pregnancy test, just to be sure. For a split second, her spoon froze midair. The color drained from her face. Then she smiled that fake, shaky smile and said, "No need. It's probably just stress. Everyone at the hospital's been feeling sick lately." But I wasn't buying it. I'd managed drivers for years. I know when someone's making up a story on the spot. I didn't confront her right away. Emotion clouds judgment. Evidence doesn't. And if logistics had taught me anything, it was that every lie leaves a paper trail. My brother Ryan drove one of our company's Ford F-150s, all equipped with GPS trackers. As operations manager, I had full administrative access to the tracking system. So one night, after Lena fell asleep, I opened my laptop and started digging. I cross-referenced her supposed extra shifts with Ryan's driving records. And what I found made my blood run cold. October 3, 2023, Lena worked a double shift. Ryan's truck spent 6 straight hours parked outside the Hampton Suites in Hoover. October 10, another emergency shift. The truck was stationary at a rest stop off I-65, no delivery scheduled, no reason to be there. October 17, Lena covered for a coworker. Ryan's truck idled for nearly 4 hours in a residential neighborhood in Tuscaloosa, miles away from any client site. The pattern wasn't random. It was deliberate. Timed. Predictable. Every extra shift matched perfectly with one of Ryan's unscheduled stops. So, I printed everything, every GPS log, every timestamp, every route anomaly, and locked the reports inside a filing cabinet at the office. But I wasn't finished. Next, I pulled Ryan's company credit card statements. Hotel bookings at strange hours. Dinner charges at restaurants he'd never visit alone, places like the Magnolia Room in downtown Birmingham, or Hearth v. Vine in Hoover. Then came the lingerie store receipts. Victoria's Secret. Savannah Lace Boutique. My stomach turned when I noticed the next detail. 3 separate transactions at Dr. Naomi Pierce's OBGYN clinic in Marietta, all paid with Ryan's company card. The same days Lena claimed to be working late. That's when the dots connected in one sickening, undeniable pattern. I remember just sitting there at my desk, the hum of the computer fan the only sound in the room, staring at the screen until my hand started to shake. It wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was coordination. Like a carefully routed shipment, only this time, I was the cargo. And in that moment, one thought crystallized in my head. The numbers never lie. But the people behind them always do. After those GPS logs, there was no going back. The numbers had spoken, but I needed voices, human proof. Something that could burn away even the smallest trace of doubt. So, I turned to what I knew best, tracking. Not trucks this time, but people. Ryan's corporate credit card was like an open diary. Every transaction, every dinner, every unnecessary hotel booking told a story, and none of it had a happy ending. The deeper I dug, the uglier it got. Dinners for 2 at expensive restaurants in downtown Birmingham, weekend business trips with no invoices, and late-night payments to hotel chains that didn't even have conference rooms. But what really made me sick were 3 payments to Dr. Naomi Pierce's OBGYN clinic in Marietta, each during days Lena claimed to be on emergency duty. Same card. Same pattern. Same lie. Still, I needed more. GPS and credit logs could only say so much. I needed something personal, something that screamed guilt. That's when I remembered the shared Gmail account Lena and I had created years ago, back when trust wasn't a question. We used it for bills, insurance updates, home repairs, the boring stuff of married life. She must have forgotten it existed. One Saturday morning in late October, while she was out buying groceries, I logged in to pay the electric bill. And there it was. An email thread titled, Situation. The sender, my mother, Eleanor Whitlock. The first message was dated October 18, 2023. Lena, I know this is complicated, but think about what's best for everyone involved. Jason is stable, responsible. He'll make an excellent father. Ryan isn't ready for that kind of responsibility. What Jason doesn't know won't hurt him. I felt my pulse in my throat. Mom wasn't just aware, she was advising her. Lena's reply came minutes later. I understand what you're saying, Eleanor, but I feel terrible lying to Jason. He's a good man. He doesn't deserve this. And then my mother's response, colder than steel. Some truths only cause pain. Jason will provide stability. Ryan can't even keep a relationship, let alone raise a child. Let's not ruin multiple lives just to ease your conscience. I sat there staring at the screen, reading and rereading every line. Each word cut deeper than the last. This wasn't just infidelity. It was a coordinated deception, engineered by my own family. I printed everything, every timestamp, every message, every shred of proof. Then I organized the files alongside the GPS and credit reports, each piece fitting perfectly into the growing puzzle of betrayal. But I didn't explode. I didn't even confront anyone. Because in logistics, timing is everything. You don't deliver early, you deliver right on schedule. So, I waited. Patiently. Quietly. And while I waited, I built my case like a professional investigator preparing for trial. I consulted with Marcus Hale, a family law attorney I knew through the Birmingham Chamber of Commerce. Without giving names, I laid out a hypothetical scenario: adultery, pregnancy, potential paternity fraud. Marcus leaned back, sighed, and said, if you can prove paternity fraud before any legal acknowledgement, before your name's on a birth certificate, you're in the clear. But once that paper's signed, you're financially liable for 18 years, no matter what the DNA says. That night, I didn't sleep. The ceiling felt like it was pressing down on me. My entire life, my marriage, my family, even my parents had become a spreadsheet of lies. So, I did what I do best. I started cleaning house. Opened a new bank account under my name only. Redirected my paycheck there. Removed Lena as beneficiary from my insurance policy and 401k. Changed passwords. Secured every asset I could. Not because I wanted revenge. But because I finally accepted that I was sleeping next to someone who had already betrayed me. With my mother's blessing. And that was the night I stopped being a husband. And started being a strategist. By early December 2023, my plan was complete, every piece placed exactly where it needed to be. I had the evidence, the timing, and the perfect setting. Christmas dinner. It was my mother's idea, ironically. Why don't you and Lena host this year? Shed said on the phone, her voice sugar-sweet. It'll be good practice for when the baby arrives. I agreed instantly. I couldn't have designed a better stage if I'd tried. In the weeks leading up to Christmas, I worked like a man possessed. During the day, I managed the company. At night, I prepared my case, organized documents, duplicated hard drives, sorted every photo, every report, every receipt. By the time the snow started falling over Cedar Grove, I had built what could only be described as a one-man prosecution file. My lawyer, Marcus Hale, had already drafted the divorce papers: adultery, irreconcilable differences. The DNA test kit was ordered, set to arrive on December 26, one day after the storm I was about to unleash. Meanwhile, I continued playing my part, the calm, devoted husband. I kissed Lena goodbye every morning, asked about her appointments, and even rubbed her shoulders when she claimed her back hurt from work. She smiled, relaxed, believing I was still the man she could manipulate. Let her. Even Ryan was getting comfortable again. Had stopped trying to hide his visits, started showing up more often, helping around the house. Had joke with Lena in the kitchen, call her sis with a grin that made my blood boil. And my mother? She played doting grandma to be, texting Lena about nursery colors and baby names. I responded with short, polite messages. Every interaction felt like a move in a chess game I was destined to win. But in private, I was preparing the final act. ID already changed every financial password, moved half our savings to a personal account at Summit Bank, and blocked Lena's access to the rest. My father, Harold, still didn't know the truth, but that was intentional. When everything came crashing down, I wanted him to see it in real time unfiltered. December 24th arrived cold and sharp, the kind of winter day where the air feels like glass. The morning snow glowed against the porch lights as I watched Lena set the table, humming softly, smiling as if she hadn't been building her own downfall for months. Christmas dinner at our house was her idea of redemption, a way to prove she was a perfect wife. She spent all morning cooking: turkey, stuffing, green beans, sweet potato casserole. The smell filled the house with false warmth. I stood by the window, sipping coffee, rehearsing my lines in my head. No anger. No shouting. Just the truth, clean, surgical, and undeniable. By 4 p.m., my parents arrived. Dad carried his famous bourbon-glazed ham, Mom brought her green bean casserole and that fake smile she'd perfected over decades. Ryan showed up last, wearing cologne too strong and confidence too loud. We sat at the table at 5:30 p.m. sharp. The candles flickered, the crystal glasses caught the glow of the chandelier, and for a brief moment, everything looked picture perfect, like a Hallmark card hiding a crime scene. Then I raised my glass. To family, I said. Everyone smiled. Glasses clinked. And that was the moment I decided. Tonight, the truth gets served hot. Christmas Eve, 2023. Snow-blanketed Cedar Grove in a white stillness that felt almost cinematic. From the outside, our house looked perfect: golden lights in the windows, the smell of turkey drifting into the street, faint Christmas music echoing softly. But inside, under that warmth, sat a storm waiting to break. Lena was radiant, 12 weeks pregnant, glowing with the kind of calm that comes from believing you've gotten away with everything. She wore a red dress, her hair curled perfectly, moving through the house with a hostess confidence. If she only knew what tonight really was. By 5:30, the family had gathered. Dad sat at the head of the table, proud and smiling, oblivious to the dynamite sitting beneath the tablecloth. Mom was chatting cheerfully, pretending to love Lena, while Ryan kept making small jokes that only they seemed to find funny. I sat there, quiet, almost too calm, watching, cataloging, remembering every detail. Every glass glint. Every fake smile. Every lie dressed up as laughter. The table was perfect. The turkey golden. The air tight with the kind of tension you could only feel when everyone's pretending to be happy. Then I raised my glass. To family, I said, smiling slightly. Glasses clinked. Everyone repeated it back. To family. But I didn't drink. Instead, I placed my glass down carefully and let my voice cut through the room like a blade. Actually, before we drink to family, I said, I think it's time we talk about what that word really means. Silence. Forks froze midair. Ryan's smirk faded. Mom's hand trembled slightly, her eyes darting between us. Lena looked confused or maybe terrified. Jason, what are you talking about? I stood, walked to the sideboard, and retrieved a manila envelope ID hidden behind the Christmas cards. This, I said, placing it in front of her. These are divorce papers. Adultery. Irreconcilable differences. You'll need to sign them by January 15th. Lena stared, blinking fast. What? Jason, I don't understand. Oh, I think you do, I interrupted, pulling my phone from my pocket. Maybe Ryan can help jog your memory. Ryan's face turned pale. What the hell is this? I swiped through GPS screenshots and placed them on the table one by one. October 3rd, 6 hours at the Hampton Suites in Hoover. October 10th, 4 hours at the rest stop off I-65. October 17th, Tuscaloosa, residential area. No route scheduled. No deliveries. Just lies. Dad's eyes narrowed. Jason, what's going on here? I turned toward him slowly. Ask Mom. The room went still. My mother's face drained of color. Would you like to explain the email you sent to Lena on October 18th? I asked. The one where you told her that what I didn't know wouldn't hurt me, and that Ryan wasn't ready to be a father? Mom's lips parted, but no sound came. So I pulled the printed copy from my folder and read it aloud, word for word. What Jason doesn't know won't hurt him. That baby deserves a secure home with someone who can provide properly. Dad froze, looking at her like he didn't recognize the woman sitting next to him. 43 years of marriage, he said quietly, and you help our son betray our other son? Ryan tried to speak, but I wasn't done. I placed a stack of photographs on the table, the ones taken by Tara Collins, the private investigator. Ryan and Lena, entering a hotel room together. Ryan's hand on her back. A picture of them in a cafe, hands intertwined across the table. And finally, the shot of them outside the hotel, his hand resting gently on her small, rounded belly. Mom gasped. Dad cursed under his breath. Lena began to cry. I loved you, she whispered. Jason, No, I said calmly. You loved the life I built. You just preferred sharing it with my brother. Ryan slammed his hands on the table. You can't control who you fall in love with. Dad's voice cut through the air, low and thunderous. Sit down. Ryan sat. Everyone stared at me, waiting for my next move. I looked at each of them one by one. At my mother, the manipulator. At my brother, the coward. At the woman who turned my marriage into a crime scene. And then I said, I don't need apologies. I don't even need explanations. I just need you all out of my life. I turned to my father. Ryan's fired as of tomorrow. His company access is revoked. The truck returns to the lot at 8 a.m. Dad nodded slowly. Done. Then I looked at Lena. You have 30 days to move out. The mortgage and utilities are in my name. Take what's yours, nothing else. She tried to reach for me. What about the baby? The DNA test arrives tomorrow, I said. If it proves what I already know, the baby's not mine. End of discussion. Mom's voice cracked. Jason, please. I met her eyes one last time. You destroyed this family long before tonight. I'm just cleaning up the wreckage. I grabbed my coat, walked to the front door, and before stepping out into the cold, I said quietly, Merry Christmas. And then I left them sitting there, staring at the ruins they'd built with their own hands. The DNA kit arrived the day after Christmas, just as planned. I swabbed, sealed, and shipped. There was no ceremony to it, no dramatic music, no trembling hands. Just a simple, clinical step in a long chain of cause and effect. When the results returned in early January, the numbers ended the last debate anyone could pretend to have. 0 probability. Not my child. The truth didn't knock, it kicked the door in and sat at the head of the table. Lena tried to talk, tried to thread together apologies and, we never meant to hurt you. But apologies are for accidents. This was architecture. I filed the divorce immediately. Marcus Hale pushed everything through at precision speed, financial disclosures, affidavits, the packet of evidence ID curated like a museum exhibit on betrayal. Within weeks, the marriage was a legal skeleton. Ryan took the fallout like a man who's been dodging consequences his whole life, poorly. Dad revoked his access before sunrise that next morning. Truck key surrendered. Company card cut. Ryan walked out of the lot with his head down, wearing the kind of silence you only earn by burning bridges you didn't build. He landed with a competitor for half the money and twice the hours. Poetic, but unintentional. Mom tried to patch things with Dad. She called, she visited, she cried. Dad moved into a small apartment downtown, bare walls, single chair, coffee machine. He didn't say the word separation to me, he didn't have to. 43 years turned into a set of boxes stacked by the door. I focused on the only thing that still behaved when you treated it right, the business. In March, Dad signed the partnership papers and slid them across his desk to me without a speech. No fireworks, just a pen, a handshake, and a look that said, "You earned this the hard way." Whitlock Transport Solutions expanded our dedicated lanes, tightened fuel management, and upgraded our telematics. I started hiring for integrity as if it were a technical skill. The numbers responded like loyal friends: cleaner margins, fewer breakdowns, steady growth. As for Lena and Ryan, the romance that felt bulletproof when it was a secret started leaking in plain daylight. Rent, daycare projections, unpaid credit cards, Ryan's old child support. Real life doesn't take rain checks. They named the boy Caleb. I hope he grows up kind, because kindness is currency in a world that keeps score. Sometimes people ask me, would you do anything differently? I would have listened to the first small inconsistency. The one you can only hear if you believe you deserve the whole truth. I'm not angry anymore. Anger is expensive. Instead, I'm deliberate. I wake at 5:30 by choice, not because I'm trapped. I run routes on paper and miles in the dark before sunrise. I see Dad twice a week for coffee we don't sweeten. We talk shop, not ghosts. Buddy still waits by the window when I come home. Dogs forgive faster than people, and sometimes they're right to. If you're listening to this wondering whether to ignore your instincts, don't. Document. Verify. Move with calm certainty. You don't have to explode to win. You just have to finish. The night I signed the final divorce order, I drove out past the city line where the interstate opens like a runway. 18-wheelers thundered by, steel and purpose reminding me that momentum is just discipline with an engine. I rolled the window down, let the cold air hit like absolution, and said it out loud to no one. I survived. And then I did the only thing I know how to do. I put both hands on the wheel and kept going. If this story hit home, do the smart thing: like, comment, and subscribe. I post new, true-to-life stories every day, each one sharper than the last. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Because in this world, the truth doesn't just come out. It arrives on schedule.